So what is good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today's an episode with Harrison Nevel, YouTuber, content creator, sneakerhead, car nut, and overall just amazing guy. We learn more about who is Harrison, a little understanding of the sneaker world, a deep dive into the creator economy, and his thoughts on recent influencer crypto scandals. It's another great one, so lace up your kicks because we're off and running. This time, before we begin, smash that sub, like and noti, and share with your friends if you enjoy. Appreciate y'all. Let's go. All right, couple fun questions just to get us warmed up. Favorite car you've ever owned?
Favorite car I've ever owned?
And you've had a lot.
Should I say my count? I think my count's at 35.
Which is crazy.
35 at 27. Yep. It's
You
pretty
switch
stupid.
them like socks.
But I will say I should stop counting the repeat cars. Like if it's the same model, I should stop. So like I would say my favorite sentimental car is my Audi R8 125. It was my first like super car I bought. First expensive car. And then, well, relatively speaking. But I'd say I think my favorite car that I've owned is GT3 RS, any of them.
That's the one.
They're just too good of driving cars.
You move a lot. You've been going back and forth from the city and Buckhead and the suburbs.
Yep.
You just keep on going back and forth.
Yep.
If you could choose where to live now, would you stay in the city or would you go back to the suburbs?
Stay in the city. I think with how, like, so we went to the suburbs for probably 2.5 years and we lived there and I just was missing something about the buzz of, it's just quiet. And I'm not ready for quiet yet. So that's like, it's great, but I'm not ready for that yet. So now that we're back, I love it. My ideal situation is like a 5,000 square foot house with a garage, a backyard and everything, 20 stories in the air. So if somebody could make that, that would be incredible.
Call McMaster. He'll build it for
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
What's the top channel in your YouTube feed right now? What are you watching?
What do I watch? One of my good friends, Eric, he's probably like, I think he's like Mr. Beast is number one. He's number two. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Eric, and he calls me his YouTube grandfather. So there's a whole story behind that, but.
So you're watching him a lot.
Yep.
You are a big F1 racing fan.
Yep.
Also a huge Ravens fan.
Big Ravens fan.
I don't know if this would ever conflict, but just for the fun thought exercise of it, if you had the opportunity to go to one on the same day, F1 race or a Ravens playoff game, which one are you choosing?
Good question, but it's easy. Ravens.
No thought.
Because I went to F1. I went to Austin and Red Bull. I was in a Red Bull, their whole suite. They won. And the celebration was like, it was like nothing.
Really?
It was like, it was not even that exciting. They did champagne and I'm in the Red Bull suite. And I think it's because it was like all celebrities and nobody really cares about F1. And you only see one point of the race. You don't see the whole thing. Whereas like if somebody scores a touchdown, the whole place is erupting. But like the only thing that people react to is something that's happening right at that one turn you're at. So I don't know. I like watching F1 on TV than in person, honestly. It's weird.
It's the energy that it brings
Yep.
from the playoff game. I want to spend $200 to $300 on a pair of shoes. Something I can wear every day.
Mm-hmm.
What should I buy? For me.
For you.
Buy. For me.
You're not a sneakerhead.
I'm not a big sneakerhead. You know that.
The unarguable shoe for everybody's a Panda Dunk.
Okay, so I had a question on that because I watched the video and you and your wife were choosing shoes.
Yep.
And she really wanted to buy a pair of Panda Dunks.
Yep.
And you told her no, which I think in a later episode, you actually bought her a pair.
Yep, correct.
But she wanted to buy a pair and you're like, why would you ever buy these? And I'm watching going, damn, those are sweet. I want a pair of those. You know?
Yep.
And you're like, don't buy them. Like, why not? I don't get it.
So the reason in that particular instance was because she could buy any shoe she possibly could want. And so she could spend $5,000 on a pair of shoes and she's going to spend $200 on a pair of Pandas that she can go get easily. I'm like, let's get something unique that's harder to find in your size. And so like now, like she wanted the Pandas so long and I got her a pair. But now she doesn't wear them because she started wearing them. She's like, oh my God, you're right. Everyone wears these. And every time I go out, I don't want to be matching shoes with everybody. And I was like, well, that's kind of what it is. So I'm an advocate for Pandas, especially if you're not into sneakers. But if you have a chance to buy whatever you want, don't buy this.
Because I'm not huge. I own a lot of sneakers, but they're mostly Yeezys, Air Maxes, things that are comfortable. I don't know the difference. If you said, what kind of Yeezys do you have? No fucking clue.
Yep.
But people are obsessed with rare sneakers. It's a thing. And the price and the resale value of these sneakers are going just absolutely through the roof. It's, I mean, crazy, insane is an understatement of how the market is. What's the psychology around this sneakerhead hype? Because again, I'm not a sneakerhead. I don't get it.
Yep. It's hard to think about the origins because I think initially this whole resale rare shoe thing started in like 2004 in the Nike SB era. I don't know if you remember back then. Is this skateboarding shoes? They started to produce specific, and in 2004 I was 9 years old, so it's not like I wasn't 20 and knowing all the knowledge, but from what I've gathered over the years, in that era, they started releasing a lot of unique pairs of shoes that were collaborations and rare. And mainly for like skateboarders. It was mainly a skateboarding shoe when it comes to Nike and SB. I will say before then you have the Jordans and all that. Like that obviously is a classic. But like the Nike SBs, there's these collaborations that everybody wants. They only made 100 pairs of a certain shoe. Made them rare, made them cost $1,000. And that kind of was like the first initial wave of that rarity and people having a demand for it. And then I think there was a pause in that market, and then somewhere, I don't know, 2014 to 16, there's kind of a new birth of things. New kids. Kanye came out with his first pairs of Yeezys, and that shoes were already reselling. This was a thing, but it's hard to give a timeline to it. But Kanye started coming out with these Yeezys in 2016, and it started this whole new drive. You can buy a pair of shoes for $200, sell them for $750. You just made $550. So the new generation, my generation, getting into shoes is like, I like the way the shoes are. I'm into shoes. Why not also buy those? And like Jordans always were like rare shoes to get, but you could get them at the mall and stuff. But like you say, today it's so different. Like you can't get anything like rare at a mall anymore.
And some of the Air Force Ones, the Dunks, they're not overly comfortable, at least for me. They're really flat. They're heavy on the bottom, but people love them.
Yep.
And so when people get them and I'm like, damn, maybe I get a pair because these are supposed to be really cool. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, this one's like $500 or $600 or $1,000. I'm like, I don't know if I could spend that much money for a pair of shoes, knowing that I don't think they're that comfortable. Because Yeezys are super comfortable, arguably the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. So I get that.
Yeah.
But for some of the other ones that aren't as comfortable, because they're skateboarding shoes.
Yeah. So the SBs are mainly skateboarding shoes, and you have like the Jordan ones that'll be like basketball. What's funny you say that though is Yeezys are very uncomfortable for me,
really?
In particular. The way my like feet are structured, they don't fit in Yeezys properly. So like my toe is like kind of like sticks up at the end, and then my feet are a little bit wide, and so like I have to wear like a size up, and it just feels so wrong. So like they're not even comfortable for me. But I think it all depends on each person's foot and what you're looking for. Like, because the comfortability is kind of gone out of the window for me for a lot of stuff. Besides pairs that are narrow, I can't wear narrow pairs. But when you break in certain shoes, they actually become comfortable. But you just have to go through that process.
You just have to go through the process of wearing them, burning them,
like Doc
your
Martens, stuff like that. Yeah,
it's like girls in heels.
Exactly.
You gotta break them in a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen sneakers on your channel that are over $10,000. Some ridiculous pairs. Do people actually wear those? I saw that you sold a pair to WhistlinDeisel.
Yep.
I just saw that on your Instagram today.
Yep.
Is he gonna wear those?
Is he gonna wear them? Did you see he bought a pair of Jordan 1 Dior's back in the day? I don't know if you ever saw that.
No.
That was the first time he did like a sneaker thing, and he used an excavator to roll them over. He washed them 20 times. He lit them on fire. He did everything, and he was wearing them when he came to the shoot. They were destroyed, and he is going to destroy those shoes. Like, and I knew this going into it.
Yeah.
Like, I knew what I was getting into, but I thought it'd be incredible for content.
Yeah.
And so from a video, he bought them from me. And all he told me he was doing initially was he's going to play basketball at YMCA wearing them. He's going to the mall to get like the shoe cleaner people to like clean them and do it. And he's wearing them in the rain. You're not supposed to wear them in the rain. And then he said he's going home and giving a full beat down to him. So
just use them like they're supposed to be used. which is rare.
Those
'cause
are
people
not
don't
supposed
do
to be
that.
used. He's using them as work boots.
That's
like he's going to
crazy.
be on his ranch in mud, off-roading. It's going to be so funny.
And what are those shoes worth that he's doing that to?
If you were to buy them from a store, like Stadium Goods in New York, 35,000.
Fuck.
Yeah.
He's gonna wear $35,000 sneakers. He already did them.
Yeah.
He's just working in them.
Yep.
That's so crazy.
What's funny, he's very great at what he does, and he showed up to the shoot, and he had a DeLorean come because of the Back to the Future shoes, and so he like drove away from like buying the shoes in a DeLorean, which is really cool.
Really funny.
But yeah, they're gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm curious.
Last time I tried to buy a pair of shoes on the internet on resale, I used StockX. And that's the only one I knew, and I used them. And as soon as I bought them, I got 1,000 emails in my email inbox. And within that 1,000 emails, I found like orders of other shoes that were shipping elsewhere. And I was like, this is not awesome. Like they spam me with emails so I wouldn't see the orders. And then I had to contact StockX, and you can't talk to anyone at StockX. So I'm stuck in this cycle. I'm calling credit card companies. I'm trying to get everything canceled. I had to change my email, get off all these mailing lists that I was on, cancel all my credit cards. And then I was like, I'm never using them again. And stupid me, maybe a year later, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try it again because they're still in business. I'm like, I must be an outlier, and it happened again.
That's crazy. I'm banned from StockX. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Couple of things. I actually made a video. I'm done. I refuse to buy off of StockX again. I had a friend buy a pair of shoes, $1,800 on there, wore them for 2 years, tried to sell them. He bought them from StockX, tried to sell them. Turns out they're fake. And at the point that he found out that they're fake, they're worth like $5,000. So he went through this whole thing. They sold him a fake pair of shoes. They refused to give him his money, and then they ended up refunding him. He obviously had to buy another pair at a huge loss. That scenario, I'm banned because they sent me a pair of shoes, or I bought a pair of shoes. They UPS, something was wrong with the delivery. So they said, unfortunately, they're going to our UPS said they're going to their auction. StockX said they can't refund me, so I had no shoes, no money, and so I did a chargeback, and I was like, I'm not getting my money and not getting these shoes, and then they banned me for doing a chargeback.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're not a fan anymore?
No, and like I've spent and sold ridiculous amounts of money on there.
Yeah.
And I actually was one of like the first people to promote them when they first came out because it was an innovative platform. And what I do use them still for, I'll use them for price referencing because they do that is a good way to look at the market and what shoes are worth if you look on there. So you can base prices off of that, but other than that, I won't like order off of them.
Because I have a pair of old Jordan golf shoes. I think it was one of the first ones Jordan made. And I looked recently. I was curious. I never wore them, and I was like, maybe I'll sell these. I'm never gonna wear them. They're stupid. Like, where am I gonna wear these Jordan? I don't even know what they are at the golf course. And they're like $800 or $1,000 selling there. And I was like, maybe I should sell them. But I hate StockX. So I'm torn.
Yeah.
What do I do with these things?
Yeah, StockX actually had a data breach probably around the first time that happened with your order where everyone's passwords and stuff got out. And that was a big thing. And then they sent out an email basically saying like, change your password, we're updating such and such. But they didn't tell people that there was a data breach and that everyone's information was out there. They just told you to change your password. And then people uncovered, because lots of people had the same issue as you, they uncovered that everybody's information out there, up to like big celebrities like LeBron James, like all their information's out there, addresses and all that, which was a huge issue. And then they fixed that. And I haven't heard as much since, but I just hear nightmares all the time about people, shoes getting lost or them saying that a shoe's fake. And then they send them a real pair from Nike. They say it's fake. Then they send them back a fake pair, like things like that happening. I don't know. That's all speculation. That's other people's experiences, but like, I don't know. It's tough.
And it's crazy because back in the day, when a company lost your data and then a data breach, it was news and people cared. And people were like, oh my gosh. Now they lose them all the time. Every day I get an alert. Oh, data breach. And it's so common that you don't even think about it anymore. Like, oh,
It's
whatever, my
crazy.
data's out there.
Yeah.
Everyone has it.
What am I gonna
anyway.
do? What am I gonna do?
And there's no responsibility. Nobody even cares
Yep.
that Experian lost all your credit data, and the credit card companies and the banks and StockX and literally everyone out there just lose your data, and we just accept it as a part of our life now.
Yep, it's wild. And when the StockX thing happened, luckily a lot of influencers were the ones to bring it to light and talk about it, so that they actually had to make a statement, because they weren't going to make a statement. And then all these YouTubers were like, I lost all this money, or I did this and that, and you guys aren't even talking about the real thing that happened. So then they finally had to talk about it and change some stuff. But
I think things like shoes and rare shoes and the shoe market, sneaker market, is a good indicator on how the economy is going. Because the economy is good, people are willing to pay a lot for sneakers and things they don't really need because they don't really wear them, and the price go up. And then when things are not going well, prices start to go down. Where do you think we are?
there was definitely a big dip, probably a month or two ago. I think where it really slowed down. I think it's kind of evened out right now. I think people aren't willing. People are being more selective of what they buy. They're willing to buy Panda Dunks because they're going to wear them. But there's a lot more shoes that are sitting at the mall because Nike has raised their retail price. And so most Jordans are like $200 now. And there's no profit margin anymore because they'll sell for $210. And so the market is affected that way because people think they can't make money. So the sneaker market was thriving a lot based off of people who are using it as a way to make money and reselling. And now that you can't resell nearly as much, it makes the prices go down because people are like, I'm not going to waste my money buying this. And so it sits at the mall. And so now you can actually go to like Lenox Mall right now and buy some decent shoes that have come out recently. Whereas if it was 6 months ago, no shot. There's nothing there.
A year ago, I used to go to Lenox or go to the Nike store there or the Finish Line there and try to buy a pair of sneakers, and there would be nothing. Mm-hmm. Everything that you could buy is all like the bullshit.
Yep.
Now you're saying you can actually buy some cool things.
That I think are cool, but the problem is it's like people in the sneaker market don't necessarily think things are cool. Certain people don't think they're cool unless they're reselling. Mm-hmm. They only want what's hard to get. And I mean, I get it. Like, you want what you can't have. And if it's sitting there, why do I want that? Nobody else wants it. But I think if you're like trying to get into shoes, like there's good options now at certain places.
For like a guy like me who's just never going to resell sneakers, mm-hmm. I just want to buy things that I think are cool.
Yeah.
You know, like they're comfortable, they're cool, and I want to wear them, and I feel good about it. Don't think I'm ever thinking, you know, like what can I resell these sneakers for? It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe that's why I don't understand it, which is why I'm curious.
Yeah.
You have almost 2 million subs on YouTube. You're like legit famous. And I say that because we've played a lot of golf together. We've been to a lot of restaurants together. We were at the Call of Duty event or Call of Duty Championship.
CDL Championship.
The CDL Championship together. And every time we go somewhere, people are like, oh my gosh, it's Harrison Nevel. Happens all the time.
It does, yes.
Does it get annoying?
No, it doesn't get annoying. It is, I feel like every time I leave the house now.
Every single time. I can't go anywhere with you.
Last night we went to dinner and the valet was like, where's your GT3 RS? And I was like, it's at home. Don't got it today. And then like I go to Whole Foods the day before. The guy working there comes up. I'm like, God, I love your videos. Like, it's crazy. And I'll say hi to anybody. I'll talk to anybody. The only time it gets like I get a little anxious about it, I'll be like, people will like be afraid to say something, and then they're like standing there like talking about me, and I can hear it.
Yeah.
But then I'm not gonna turn around and be like, "Hey, it's me. Do you want to like take a photo?" Like, I don't like doing that. But my wife Sophie, she will, if she notices it and I don't notice it, she'll be like, "Hey, do you want to grab a picture?" Especially if it's like a younger kid. But like,
oh, that's awesome. She's like a good road dog.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But I've had people like, it's when it gets weird is like if I'm eating dinner with my family, like I'll do it after. But if I'm like in the middle of eating, so I've had it where like I'm in the middle of eating and a little kid come up and like, hey, can I take a photo? And like, I get it. The kid doesn't understand. But like sometimes you're like eating, you're like, okay, you know, let me finish real quick. And then I'll do whatever, take pictures or whatever you want.
So as you get super famous on the internet, because again, especially amongst the younger generation, I consider you super famous.
I don't.
Especially amongst young men. Uh-huh. They love you. They love your content.
Yeah.
But as you get more famous on the internet, inevitably you get haters.
Yep.
I did a quick Google search. Mm-hmm. I searched through some Reddit comments, and
probably found some good stuff in there.
And one guy said, He's just a dude with rich parents.
Yep.
He's just boosting his presence by buying expensive things and pretending he has drip. That was a comment. How do you respond to that?
One, I don't think I have drip. If you know what drip is, it's like
I
sense of fashion.
had to Urban Dictionary.
Your boomer move right there. So yeah, I get the rich parents all the time. I mean, I get it. I look like I'm 10. Now I think I look a little bit older, but like when I started, I looked like I was young. And it's kind of, at this point, I don't even see comments because how I kind of manage hate comments is like, I'll post a video and I don't really read the comments, but my cameraman will go and read them. And if there's any like valid criticism, he'll bring it to me and be like, look, we did this in that last video. We need to change it. But like, it's hard because like, I can't tell like my story every video. I can't tell people like where I came from. And like my parents took great care of me growing up. I had a great house to live in. But when I started YouTube, I was buying like $6 shirts from H&M, showing like what people can buy, and I was returning them because I couldn't afford to keep them. Like I was like buying outfits and then returning it because I couldn't afford to pay rent and everything while doing it. So it's like people don't see those moments, and it's harder to say. But like now they look, and like I drive a nice car. I'm buying $50,000 mystery box. Like it makes sense. And I think nowadays more people are realizing that you can make money off of YouTube, and like good money off of YouTube. Whereas like 5 years ago, people are like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I don't think I have drip. I just dress comfortably. I wear Represent. That's literally all I wear.
Because I know you pretty well. You work fucking hard.
Try to.
You're very meticulous on how you do everything. And I was very impressed by that. You spend a lot of care in just even the direction of a video, how much you plan it out, the thumbnail. I remember we had the conversation about a thumbnail, and you go back after the video and you spend time to take a picture of that thumbnail because you know how important that is. So I think it's an unfair criticism that people think that, because again, we spend a lot of time together. But inevitably, as you get bigger,
it happens. And like, I got into YouTube because I like making videos, and I enjoyed sneakers and clothing. And that was kind of the thing that I found that I could put my passion of making videos, having a topic on it. I didn't even want to be in front of the camera initially, but I realized with learning YouTube, because I've been posting on YouTube since 2006. I jumbled my words there. But I've been posting that long, and I learned how it works, and I figured out like I got to be in front of the camera if I want to do this and succeed, like in the way that I want to. So,
and there's a big difference between like legit famous and people thinking they're famous. That's a thing these days.
Yeah,
we're hearing all these stories of these TikTokers with millions of subscribers, tens of millions of views, and they do fan meets and nobody shows up. What's crazy. The difference? Why is that even happening? Because you would think 5 people show up. I mean, you're hearing stories about nobody.
I think it's crazy. So the difference in all the social medias is TikTok is 6 to 15, 60 seconds. There's 6 seconds is Vine, but like it's a short amount, and you can't get enough out of that person just from that amount. And even if you watch them a lot, and the difference is with like YouTube, and why I think it's the best platform is like people are committing to they're sitting down and watching you specifically, or they're listening in the background, but they're committing 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot of time. Even if they watch for 5 minutes, that's a lot of time. Yeah. Whereas on TikTok, your whole thing is attention span. They're just scrolling. It's like they don't really care to tune in much else. And TikTok's platform doesn't like want you to. Their whole platform is just to cycle you content that's relatable. So you're going to cycle you new stuff all the time. Whereas YouTube, you're curating content. They curate it to like you're watching that specific person. You're giving them this amount of time. So there's people watching me for like 5 years now, which is crazy. And they feel like they know me. So when I meet them, they're like, bro, I know about your car, I know about this, I know about that. I'm like, this is crazy. And I was like, well, what's your name? Like, I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
But it's like crazy that YouTube just allows that longer form content for people to be a lot more in tune and care about you and your personality rather than just like seeing you very quickly as like a quick video on TikTok or something.
So do you think that quick hitting TikTok type format will last? Because again, if creators aren't actually getting in front of their fans and their people, and they're not creating this bond that YouTubers are creating, is it sustainable?
I think it'll be sustainable just because of how addictive the platform is. I think that'll sustain. But you see what TikTokers will do is they try to move platforms. They try to take their audience to YouTube, and it's a small translation, but then that helps them kind of grow. There are TikTokers that have succeeded very well in that transition. But like I would probably equate if you have 1 million followers on TikTok, I would say on YouTube that's probably 30K subs, maybe 20K, like 20 to 30K subs. Like that's the difference of how like I think it is, because also 1 million views on TikTok doesn't make you nearly as much money as YouTube. And so that's why they're also trying to switch over platforms, because they're realizing like the monetary value is more on YouTube because it's like more like an actual job. It's sustainable if you want to make it a job.
I had a friend who sells product on TikTok. He does a lot of social selling. So he sells on TikTok, he sells on Instagram, and he promotes on both to get people to click his link, buy his product. And he did an experiment on both where he spent the same amount of ad dollars, got approximately the same amount of clicks, and his conversion rate into sales on Instagram was something like 15 or 20 times higher. And he was like, I'm convinced that TikTok is just bots, that they're just clicking. And because I'm paying them to promote a product, they're making it seem like I have all these views and all these clicks, but it's just not converting.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting that people are starting to see that. I saw one clip of a company, and they said, I forget the name of the company. It's a publicly traded company. And they decided to just put all their marketing dollars into TikTok. And they were trading at like $10 or $15 at the time they made that decision. And now they're trading for like under $1 because they didn't make any money. They spent their whole marketing budget on TikTok and they just didn't make any money.
I mean, did you ever go on TikTok?
It's fucking addictive.
It is. But like when you see an ad, you immediately scroll.
Yeah.
Like in my videos, I have ads in my videos, like ad placements, and it'll be like a minute long segment, and people actually watch them because like they trust what I'm saying. They're watching my video, they trust what I'm saying. So I have to be very careful with that and make sure I'm not promoting anything that's not good. But like on TikTok, when you see it, it's just like a quick like ad for a new desktop cleaner or something like random. And it'll just be like a funny joke, whatever. But like you don't care about it. But like when somebody that you respect their opinion is saying that this is a good product, then, and that's what's gotten a lot of people in trouble promoting things for bad. But like they're able to trust that opinion. So like I make like probably, I don't know, 30 to 40% of the money that I make is off of like just brand deals alone on YouTube, because, and like I have a very niche audience and it's a very sellable audience. And so brands like that. So I get paid at a higher level than a lot of people because I have a very in-tune sellable market, rather than like if you have just a mainstream audience that's just like open, there's nowhere to point specifically what people are into. For me, they're into clothing, fashion, shoes, like I get stuff for like skincare and clothing, like all that. So it's pretty interesting.
The advertisers know what they're going to get when they work with you.
Yeah, they know the audience. It's 18 to 24, 90% male. Like they know that that's what they're getting.
So much to unpack there, because I have a ton of questions from that alone. First, a lot of influencers over the last couple of years took a lot of the NFT, crypto, and gambling site money.
Yep.
They threw money at creators to do that. And we're seeing a lot of the damage that has done.
Yep.
Logan Paul is getting a lot of shit right now for his crypto zoo thing.
Yep.
The FaZe guys got hit pretty hard with their NFT and crypto thing. The Nelk boys got in a lot of trouble for their gambling thing. You never did any of that. And I'm sure they threw money at you. Huge money.
I got offered massive. Like my management would tell me there's a lot of offerings. And I would say the biggest one in my market is there's online mystery boxes. And that was a big thing. And it went through a whole scandal. And I just never, like I got offered. So when they first came out, I got offered to do a video. So I filmed it and I was like, this doesn't feel right. I sat on the video for like 2 weeks. I was about to put it out. This before I had a management team or anything. And then I was like, I can't do this. I was like, this is wrong. Like it just didn't feel right. Where it's essentially the website is like, you pay $250 and they're like, it's a mystery box. You may get this $500 shoe. You may get like a penny or like something that's worth $80, a shirt. And it's just random. You click on it, pay with crypto or whatever it is. And I was just like, there's no way to guarantee if anybody can actually get something from this. So it felt wrong. And so I feel like I have a pretty good a pretty good ability to like recognize when I feel like something's not right, because I just don't want to put myself in a scenario like Logan Paul, where I just feel like in his scenario, like his team should have seen some of these things, and like these people's teams should have seen the risks in some of these things. And like with NFTs early on, people might not have known because it was a new thing, but it's still like
It smelled.
Yeah,
something's gonna go wrong.
Just
here.
the premise of it, and like I get like NFTs, a picture of the blockchain. I think is a great thing to be able to trace back your transactions and the legitimacy of things. But then you just started getting like Logan Paul came out with Dink Doink, like an NFT, and it's like, bro, Dink Doink, and he made a song about it. It's like, and he's like, it's not, I'm not promoting this, but I love Dink Doink. Like, and it's like, all right, so people are gonna put all their money into this random coin thing, and like I've put money into crypto. I've lost money in crypto, but I've never like taken on an NFT project, promoted it, because I have been offered. I've been offered anything that you see that people are doing. I've been offered
FTX and
it's just and the FTX one is an even interesting thing, because there's like big creators like Graham Stephan that was like a huge promoter of that.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's weird, and I'm glad that I've been able to work through that. But it's still like every week there's something that I'm like, I have to just be cautious. And luckily I have a great team now that helps me with that. But it's trying to figure out, some people just want the money. Like if you get offered $100,000 to post a 60-second clip in your already video to just talk about this project, you'd be like, that's $100,000 I can make right there.
It's so hard to say.
It's quick money. Like I know some of my friends in the space who were offered $1 million for Instagram stories to promote an NFT project, because he was very early on like I can't remember the names of them now. That's how it's gone away. The CryptoPunks. That was like the first ones that were like worth $1 million. He was all in on those early and all that, and he got offered $1 million just for like stories, and he would turn them down because he's like, I'm not going to promote something that's just going to scam people. But imagine $1 million for an Instagram story.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And to say no to it is almost just as crazy.
Yeah.
Because, and looking back, you see all the landmines that you just dodged.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, whew.
Yeah.
That could have been bad.
100%.
But a lot of people took the money. And when I first heard about it, I was like, damn, that sucks. Like, they shouldn't have taken the money. But then you put yourself in that situation, and it's not easy to say no to the type of money people are throwing at you.
Yeah.
So again,
it's a lot of money. Like, and there's two sides of it. There's the people that are like, I would never do that, my moral compass. Then there's other people who are like, look at it from their perspective. They work a regular job, and let's say they make $50,000 to $100,000 a year, and they're like, if I could just post 60 seconds and make $250,000, of course I would do that. But it's like, it's hard to look at it from because there's people who are taking these things that also are already worth tens of millions of dollars, and it's like, well, did you really need to do that kind of thing? And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, no, that was dumb. You should have looked into this, whatever. But from a creator, let's say who has under 100,000 subs, who's trying to like make it big, and they get offered this, not that much money, but they get offered a certain amount of money. They're like, well, I can make money. I need to pay my bills and all this. So like, I don't know. I can see. I'm just glad that my mind was able to take me in the right direction. So, cause like my biggest thing is I just try everything in my power not to steer my audience wrong. And I feel like I'm pretty good at not getting in controversy and stuff. And people like controversy because it makes them bigger. Look at Logan Paul, the amount of controversy he's been in. I bet you everyone in his building knows who he is. Even if they don't know what he does, they know him from WWE, they know him from boxing, they know him from whatever. He's done all these things. And his brother Jake Paul, because they've gotten in controversy and it gets their name bigger. So it's like, I'm not, like I have 2 million subs. In the YouTube space, as far as big creators, not many people know me, because I don't live in LA, one. When you go to LA, you meet everybody. It's easy. But I'm not in a lot of controversy. So I'm not like the news because I promoted this scam or this or that.
No drama.
Yeah. And I try not to, but like there's still drama inherently. It happens. But I try my best to like avoid that, because I don't need that stress in my life. When a drama happens, I've had dramas happen to me. That's all I can think about. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm canceled, this or that. Like, and it would be over stuff that is like not even like, I wouldn't even be canceled over. It's just like little things that like miscommunications or this or that, where like something looks bad in my video and I've like had to fix it. But like it's happened like once or twice.
It just shows you're a good guy, you know?
I try to be. I don't know. I try to be. I think my parents raised me well.
How much responsibility do you think the creators who did take the crypto money, the FNF money, shilled it to their fans, their viewers, and they lost money. How much responsibility do you think they hold? Like, how much should they actually have looked into this before they did? Because they're not financial experts.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to a creator and taking financial advice from a guy that's not in the financial category, I don't know how much you can blame. Like, I don't know how mad I am at Tom Brady for shilling FTX. He's not a finance guy.
Yeah.
But Kevin O'Leary and Mark Cuban, Graham Stephan, these guys who are considered financial in the financial content creator space,
they're telling you where to invest your money.
and they're telling you, I think they hold a higher responsibility. But I don't know how mad I am at the guys that are not financial guys that shilled this stuff. I don't know. I don't know where that line is.
And I think when you look at something like Tom Brady, that has more to do with like his manager bought him. They're like, look, here's this deal with FTX. They're this back. And FTX is, I think, a pretty unique example because like up until when they got exposed for everything, they, to the surface level, were like a great company that was making a lot of money and it worked. And then everything got exposed. But like, it wasn't like they were promoting something that wasn't working. Like when they were promoting FTX, it was like a working thing and all that. And I feel like Tom Brady's manager just brought him and said like, hey, look, they're going to give you $100 million to promote this. It's a platform to trade crypto. That's the future. And they have this history. So you know that it's legit. Easy. And Tom Brady's like, okay, got it. Sure. Like his team is probably doing all the vetting for him. And maybe his team is to blame. And maybe he still is also to have some blame because he needs to look into it also. But like, you think of somebody like that, like he's focusing on football.
Yeah.
But maybe the argument is don't promote something you don't look into. I don't know. It is tough to like decide. There are different levels of it depending on like who it is. But like influencers, I think, are pretty responsible. Like if I promoted one of those fake mystery box websites, that goes on me because I either didn't care and I'm willing to take the money for other people to lose it, or I just am negligent and just like think that it's actually good and it's not.
Because I saw a video you recently did also about the mystery box scams. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting because you called it almost gambling. Mm-hmm. At the same time, the reason why mystery boxes are so damn big, you're partially responsible for that.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's interesting because I think the selling of mystery boxes kind of stopped. So like when I do these mystery boxes now, they're from companies that kind of do one-offs now for me. There was a period of mystery boxes where companies were selling legit mystery boxes because the sneaker market was different. So like they had margin to sell these things. And now it's turned into where people are just, I don't know, the sale of mystery boxes kind of stopped except when something like this comes up. And for those who aren't familiar with it, it was a guy, they're selling 50 mystery boxes for $300 each. There's a chance to win an expensive sneaker that's like worth $600. But all the other boxes had like $150 sneakers in them. And so you had kids going up and buying them with the thought that they could win something big. For me, I don't think it's right to sell those things unless you're guaranteed to get the worth of what you're paying. If you're buying a mystery box for $300, you need to get at least $300 of stuff in there because then you're just throwing your money away. It's like you're going to the lottery. And so the whole thing around mystery boxes prior to that is you're always guaranteed to get your money's worth.
Like, you just don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're going to get. It may not be your size. It may not be this. But the whole thing around sneaker mystery boxes is like you're buying this so you can go and take those individual pieces, sell them, and make your money back if you don't get, the big... And they weren't even like doing like the big thing before. It's just like you buy a box for $300, it's worth $400 if you can do it. And the stores were just moving inventory quicker because they have higher margins. So they're basically just putting 6 shoes in a box and giving you those so they don't have to sell them individually, and then you can go and do it and make the money kind of thing.
So if you had to redo the mystery box, what would you change about it? Again,
about like
you're the king of mystery box.
Like about my videos or like
about your videos or how the mystery box works.
I mean, I wish I could have made, mystery box, like made a whole, like there's my management always came to me like, hey, we should make mystery boxes. Like, why would we not do that? But where I never went and like sold them big. Like I've made little ones here and there, but like I never sold them big because the hard thing with mystery boxes is the value of the mystery box is based on the person opening it. And so you have to go above and beyond for them to see that value. And if you don't, then you look bad. And so like it's not worth it at a certain point to do it. So like for me, how mystery boxes got big for me is I bought eBay mystery boxes, and before stores started making them, and I bought these eBay mystery boxes, and I think that's when stores started to say, oh, we should do this. But like I'd go on eBay, and my dad actually gave me the idea. He saw a video on Facebook of some guy opening a random eBay mystery box. Like, do this with sneakers. I found one. I bought it. And I would buy it on there, and it's such a huge risk for me. And I wouldn't be promoting like the eBay store. I'd just be like, look, I'm buying this. Let me be the one to spend the money and show you guys for the entertainment. And I'll take the loss, but I'll make the money back on the video. So like it makes sense for me to buy it and take the loss. And so I wasn't like promoting those. And then it just blew up like crazy. And everybody all they wanted to see is mystery boxes. That's all people wanted to see. And then what it's turned into is when I do them now is like, I'll go to a sneaker store and I'll be like, hey, here's $1,000, make me a mystery box of whatever sneakers. But they don't sell them anymore. Like stores don't sell it because it doesn't make sense because they can make more money just selling the shoes as they are. So.
Just use the mystery box to get people to come in, but just sell them what they want to buy.
Like, yeah, sell them the shoes, but like I do it just for the entertainment purpose. Like I'm going to go spend $1,000 and see what I get. But like you can't go to the store and buy a $1,000 mystery box kind of thing.
So a little bit before in our conversation, you talked about how advertisers like working with you and brands like working with you because they know what they're going to get as far as an audience.
Yep.
Every successful YouTuber I've ever spoken to says that you need to find a niche. Find your lane. That way, YouTube knows what they're getting from you. They know what to promote. They know who your audience is going to be. The brands know who they're going to get. But at the same time, the number one reason people join YouTube is so that they have some sort of financial freedom. So they have flexibility so that you don't have to get a real job.
Yeah.
But you're going in doing the same thing all the time. It's almost like getting a real job.
Yep.
There's a kind of weird disconnect there. Do you ever feel trapped?
I wouldn't say trapped, but I definitely fall into moments where it feels like it's a normal job where I'm like, I have to, like, there's certain times where, because I've been doing it so long that in order to have longevity, you have to, like if I'm doing videos for 6 years, I have to put out a certain amount of content. And sometimes it gets like, I've done this a lot. I need to switch things up because it just feels like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And so that's when it feels like a job. And like, it's become like I have to manage employees, my cameraman, and different people hiring and doing this stuff. And so then I feel like I'm a boss. And like I try to keep my team small, but like then it feels like that. And then sometimes I'm like not in the mood to film. Sometimes I don't want to, because you know me, like I'm pretty quiet off camera, but then I turn on for the camera. I'm like more open, and that kind of drains me. And so sometimes I just like I feel like I can't do it. But I feel like I've gotten in a really good balance, which I'm very glad that I've learned, of like being able to take a week off if I need it. Like I don't have to post this week. For the new year, I didn't post for like 2 weeks. And like a lot of people have that fear that it'll go away, but I don't have that fear because I know with YouTube, if you come back with good content that people want to see and not like the same old stuff that people don't want to see, then they'll come back and watch your videos, especially if you've built an audience on it. So like I've learned that I can have a balance. I can spend a few days with my wife, hang out with her, make sure I allocate time with her, and then go back and grind with work and stuff, and balance that in between. Not like it's not always periods, because when I first started, like there were periods where like I was like I'm in grind mode. All I'm doing is working 24 hours a day, and it would like hurt our time together. And now I've learned how to balance that like a normal life.
The Mr. Beast model, right, it used to be that you would need to upload on a schedule at the same time that you would have to be able to engage in a consistent fashion in order to get people to watch you. Mr. Beast came out and said, I'm just going to focus on videos that people want to watch. I'm going to post whenever I'm ready to post, and people are still going to watch, and it happened.
Yep.
Is that the new model?
For certain creators. I think certain creators can't do that with how they've built their audience. So YouTube's gone through many phases of the schedule. There was like stick on a poignant schedule. When I started, that's what it was, and I stuck to it and it worked. Then they switched to you need to upload every single day. People want to see daily videos. I never did that because I couldn't sustain it. So then I stuck to my schedule of 1 or 2, maybe 3 a week. And I did that throughout the years, and that has worked. I don't know if it has always just worked for me specifically, or like it works as a platform, but I think YouTubers were always scared that the next person is going to work harder than you and come and take your audience. But I think we've learned that if you've built up an audience yourself, if you just continue to put out good stuff, they will come back. You just can't, like, if, let's say you post a video that does really bad and you're discouraged, like, I'm going to wait and come back. If you come back with the same type of video, nothing's going to change. But if you come back and make better content and you want, like, innovative stuff ready to grow, then your audience will see that and want to see you evolve. And it's all about evolving as a creator also. That's like another huge aspect of it.
Talking about evolution, if you were to have the ability to do other types of content now, because you've dabbled with other types of content, but it doesn't seem like anything is ever stuck. You always go back to the shoes.
Yep.
If you could do anything else and you would get your same audience regardless of what you did, what would you do?
There's a few things, like I like car content, but I also don't like, that's my hobby, so I don't want to like combine that and work. I really think a format like Impractical Jokers would be really fun. Like where it's like me, two friends, let's say it's me, Hoss, and Nick. And then we're like doing something where we're kind of like controlling a situation and like we each have to go out and do something and like it's just funny. Like Hoss is on the thing and makes me go do this to this customer at a sneaker store. Like that type of stuff seems fun. And I think that it's a possibility, and I've talked to my team about it, but it's like if I put in the effort to make a video like that, probably cost me 10 grand to make that video. It'll take me 3 days to film it. And it'll probably get less views in a video of me going to a sneaker store and buying the 5 cheapest shoes in a store and coming home and showing them in my warehouse. And it's like, I put in less effort and I get more retention because that's what my audience wants rather than trying something new. And it's like, you have to commit to trying something. It's tough. Like I'm definitely open. Like that video with the mystery boxes was like kind of fun for me to make because it was kind of like mysterious, like investigative style.
It was very different than what you do. And I enjoyed it. I think, because I don't watch a huge amount of sneaker content, but I like those videos that you do. Yeah. I like the one with you and Soph. I enjoyed those. I thought those were fun because I know you. So I feel like I'm getting to know you a little better versus the episodes where like, here are these sneakers. I'm like, oh, like I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't get it.
Yep.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense. And those types of pieces of content are fun because we're traveling, we're getting out. But what I've learned about YouTube and the audience is like, there's a line of like, there's a weird line of not posting the same thing. But then I also learned that like, that's what people want. Like the mystery box, I've been doing them so long. I stopped doing mystery box for a couple months back in the day because I was like, people are tired of this. And then I come back and post one and it gets crazy views because that's what people want to see. And it's like, no matter how many I've done, people want to see that. And so there's a point of like, you have to give the audience what they want. And especially if you want to sustain. And that's the hardest battle of the YouTubers. Like we have friends that play like GTA 5 and they keep playing GTA 5. They try a new game because they want to do something different. But then it's like,
keeps on going back to
GTA 5. The audience wants GTA 5. That's why they're here. So it's a weird balance.
YouTube is arguably bigger than TV now. I don't know what the exact numbers on it, but if I had to ask someone what's the future, I think almost everyone would say YouTube.
Yep.
There was that study that gets thrown around a lot that 75% of kids 8 to 17, if you ask them what they want to be with their life, they say YouTuber, influencer, or vlogger. As a YouTuber, influencer / vlogger, how does that make you feel?
I think it's cool. I understand it. And I think it's bringing a whole new world of like, opportunity to kids to be like, I don't have to do the traditional go to college, get my degree in finance and go work a regular corporate job. They're like, I can take things into my own hands. And I think that's awesome that people are like kids are like, I can do whatever I want. I want to be a YouTuber. I can make videos on these Legos that I got. And like they're thinking about that and they're watching YouTube all day. And that the fact that they have that open creativity, because like school is not for me. Like I got my degree, but school is not for me. And whenever I'd work a regular job, I was always like, this isn't right. I need to do something else. And that's whether it's working for myself, like it just wasn't there. And I just think that's awesome that there's opportunity like that out there. Like anyone can get on YouTube and make millions of dollars if they have the dedication, the will, the willingness to learn, the willingness to be a videographer, to be an editor, to be a Photoshop master. Like you have to learn all these different trades, audio, in order to be a YouTuber. So there's like so much that goes into it, and everybody tries it, and it's not easy. But like, if you put in enough work, you can do it. Like, look me now. on my channel for 7 years. I've been posting on YouTube since 2006. I've been on the platform for 15 years, whatever, plus. So like I've put in my hours to learn how it works, and anybody can do that. But like Mr. Beast, his whole thing is all I do all day, every day is YouTube. That's all I wanted. That's all I did. And he put in the time and effort and made it work. And now, and from an outside perspective, people just see, oh, he just spends $100,000 in a video that his parents give him, and then he gets 1 million views, and he makes the money back, 1 billion views, whatever. So I don't know, but I think that's cool. I wanted to be a baseball player growing up. That was like my thing. But
I mean, the flip side of that is that even if everyone wants to be a YouTuber, a very small percentage of people actually succeed as a YouTuber. So, you know, part of me says it's great that kids have an opportunity to do something different and pursue something they're passionate about. The other side of me is that they're going down a road that there's no future in because such a small percentage of people actually make it. It's fucking difficult. I made something like 200 videos. Yeah. It's not easy.
I mean, so the way you say that kind of makes me think of it as like putting in the category of like somebody wanting to get into sports, like in order to get to that top level. And obviously that requires different skills. And like every time I talk about it, people will comment like, or when people talk, YouTubers talk about it, they're like, you're not an NBA player. You don't have any skill set, whatever. But like, it's kind of, when you look at like baseball, if I wanted to be a professional baseball player, that was my dream. There's a slim margin of people that make it to that level. And then how long does it last? And the same thing with like YouTube. And it's not, it might not be the same scale, but like when you, like with being a YouTuber, how long is it going to last? People have a career in football for how long? What's the average? 5-6 years or something? I don't know what it is. But the average career on YouTube, same thing. Like how long can you make it last? And it is crazy because I look at it now, like if I was like a low level MLB player, like I made MLB in a low level, not Freddie Freeman or whatever, like I probably make more money than I would have as a professional baseball player at a low level. And so my friends asked me, they're like, well, now looking back, would you rather have done baseball? I was like, I don't know. But it's just an interesting perspective to think of like, that was my dream, because that's what I thought growing up with sports and the ability to like make it to that level. And I don't know, rambling now, but it's just like, it's an interesting thought.
So, I mean, you do sneaker content. That's what you've been doing. Do you think that you can stay relevant in that category for how long before you have to make a change?
Yeah, that's the thing me and my team talk about a lot, because like I have a pretty long, my shelf life is going to be pretty good, I think, regardless of what I go into, because I'm very consistent. And I don't, every video I make, I'm not trying to make a Mr. Beast viral video. And that gets very tough when you're like Eric does, and he's done amazing. He's like one of the ones that has done it. But like, it gets tough when you're like trying for a viral video every time, and then if it fails, then you're like, what do I do now? So it's either you get 10 million views or you get 100,000 views, rather than like, for me, I'm like, I'm okay with consistently getting 200, 300,000 views, maybe 1 million here, 200,000, 300,000, and making it consistent. I'm okay with that. And so I think that helps with my longevity. I don't know when that pertains to like sneakers, because I shifted into sneakers more like 2 to 3 years in. So it wasn't my primary thing at the beginning. How long will sneakers last? There's been phases where everybody's like, sneakers are dead. Nobody cares about sneakers. And then it's like, that's not really true. But I also think that my content is a little more entertainment, as well as sneakers, where people are like watching for me as well, rather than like just seeing what a shoe, like it's not a shoe review. I'm like going out and buying something and giving my opinions and things like that.
You're not a shoe education channel.
Yeah, I'm not an OG sneakerhead who's got all the knowledge in the world. I have a lot of knowledge now, naturally, from what I do, but.
Do you get a lot of criticism from sneakerheads saying, oh, this guy doesn't know sneakers as well, but he's like the biggest sneaker YouTuber?
Probably. I don't really see it. But I think the creators in my space, they put me in a separate category. They don't call me a sneaker YouTuber. They're like, I'm entertainment sneaker YouTube kind of thing.
So then how do you make money on YouTube? Because ad revenue is not what it used to be. We touched on different brand deals. How do you really make money on YouTube?
Well, for me, I do make a good amount of money on ad revenue. I basically have, like I said, I have a niche audience that they know is very sellable. I get a lot of the big advertisers that want to advertise on my channel. They call it Google Preferred. So certain YouTubers have Google Preferred, where YouTube or the advertisers know that YouTube says these are good content to put on. And so my CPM and ad rates are like a lot higher than the traditional, can be 4 or 5 times what most people's are. And so ad revenue is pretty big for me, but then my management side and the deals they bring me, that's also a big side of it. I also have my online store where I sell shoes and stuff. I'm not a sneaker reseller. People categorize me as that, but I'm like, I don't resell anything. I lose money sometimes on shoes. Like for me, it's a pilot for my videos. Like I buy the shoes, I make the content, and I sell them at the same price I did to put the money back into the videos. But I've done merch, things of that nature. But like ad revenue and brand deals are kind of like the two big ones for me.
How do you get into a place where YouTube is like, we like this guy, and it's almost like they push a button and they're like, all right, Harrison Nevel, he's good. We're gonna promote him stuff. We're gonna push you more. We're also gonna drive sponsors and advertisers to you. Where does that transition happen? Where you going from like, I'm grinding on my own to all of a sudden I have this momentum of a push with YouTube behind me?
I couldn't tell you the answer. I don't think anybody has the answer. I didn't know I was like, that was like it was until one time I got a YouTube partner manager. Once you get 100,000 subscribers, I think it is, they give you like a contact at YouTube that vaguely can help you. They can't, it's not like I can call YouTube and say, hey, something's wrong. My management has those connections, but like when they give you a partner manager, it's just kind of like, if you have questions about YouTube, help with growth, like that kind of thing. And I was asking them and I was like, look, I don't know how this happens or if I'm in it, but I'm curious, am I in Google Preferred? I'm just curious like how that works. And they're like, actually, yes, you are. And I was like, well, how does it work of like getting in or getting out? And they're like, there's no real way to tell. It's just consistent, good audience retention. The metrics are good. And they kind of reassess it every quarter, they said. This was probably 3 years ago. They reassess it every quarter if you're still qualified to be in it. And you just have to keep consistently posting good content. Like Logan Paul was in Google Preferred. He was like one of the first people to like talk about it as a creator, I feel like. And then once his whole controversy, the Japan controversy happened, he got out of it. And he always talked about like, I wish we were in Google Preferred again. Like he got pushed out of it. So like YouTube kind of controls that. And it's kind of like at their will. And I just think like for the entire time I've been making content, I never cuss. I'm clean. I don't promote scams. And so there's less, I think that's what's helped me along the way. If I had to guess that like I'm clean and consistent and that they can rely on me. If an advertiser is going to put something on my video, they're not going to be hit with backlash because they promoted on my specific video. Did
you feel the switch getting flipped?
No.
Did you see a big growth somewhere, or how did you know that to even ask that?
I just asked because I was curious, and my CPMs and ad rates were higher than most of my space, but I thought maybe I just had better retention and stuff. I still don't know definitively because they don't tell me, but like I just think that it happened over time, and I don't know. Maybe there was, and I just didn't notice, but nothing stands out like that.
Because YouTube does a good job of putting out their guidelines, almost telling you what they want to see. I remember when I was thinking about starting a podcast, they had released some sort of podcast presentation, and they give you guidelines of what they like. Yep. And they're almost telling you, this is what we want. Mm-hmm. But no one ever really knows what they want. Do you wish they would be more transparent? Or do you think if it was more transparent, everyone would do it and you lose your secret sauce?
I don't know, because everyone tries to ask me like, what's the secret to YouTube? And I'm like, there's got to be a secret sauce. And I'm like, but I don't think there is. I don't have the answers, and I don't think any other creators do. It's kind of like you do what you think is right and you just keep at it. And I think it's a consistency thing, not going away for months. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I wish YouTube was a lot more transparent about a lot of things. I wish that there was a more direct connection as a creator to YouTube, especially when you get to a certain level. Like, I think once you hit 1 million subscribers, you should be able to contact somebody if you have an issue of copyright, if you have an issue of demonetization. Like, there needs to be a more transparent way to communicate. Whereas now you just send out a tweet, because like even those partner managers, they can't help you with that. And like now you have to send out a tweet to YouTube and be like, hey, look, this is wrong. And they'll be like, all right, we're looking into it. It'll be a bot. And then they look into it and whatever. But like, there are some of these top YouTubers with 10 million subscribers can't talk to anybody at YouTube.
Really?
No.
That's crazy.
But there's some that have that connection, but others don't. And it's like they have issues and they just can't get it solved. They have to go to Twitter. And it's like, when you're a big creator and you're bringing in millions of dollars a year for that platform, they need to have a way for you to communicate so that you can figure out things that are going wrong. If they're about to ban your channel because of this sort of content, let's have some discourse so you can tell me, what am I doing wrong and what does it need to be changed so that I can continue to be on this platform and I don't lose 10 million subs, 10 years of my life and my livelihood, because they just take it from people like that.
And that's the scary part, right? Of putting all your stuff on YouTube and they just shut you off in one day.
Yep.
But because of that, there is a movement of people going to alternative platforms like Rumble, who is kind of becoming a little more popular these days. What do you think about that?
What I think about it is, I think as an option, I know like people like Steve will do it. Mm-hmm. And that's like the option that he has. And they're probably paying him a good amount of money to be on there. But I think that there's something, obviously that's what you do if you don't have any other options. But I think there's people that have tried to create other platforms as well. The thing that YouTube has is the audience and growth. Mm-hmm. When you're on these platforms like Rumble, or like if you create your own, like Nelk Boys created their own website to show their videos that couldn't be monetized on YouTube. The problem with that is there's no growth there. That's only their audience. Whereas YouTube allows you to get new people in order to grow your channel. And so like Rumble may be that as well, but like
they don't have the following.
The infrastructure and everything that YouTube has that they've built over 18 years is, or however long, is so large. They've been through all of the issues with advertisers on bad videos, the ISIS videos were having ads on them and stuff back in the day. They went through that. They went through all this horrible things, and they've learned how to monetize and keep the advertisers around and keep the platform steady. And that's what they have, because now TikTok has to catch up. They have 15 years worth to catch up on YouTube when it comes to monetization. Like 1 billion views on TikTok pays you $14,000. 1 billion views on YouTube could pay you $10 million. It's like it's so vastly different, and there's so much to learn, and that these platforms have to go through. Like TikTok's potentially getting banned on different countries and on people not allowed to go on your phone or anything. So like I don't know. I just think YouTube has cemented themselves so much that it's hard for me to believe that they'll even go anywhere anytime soon.
So do you think YouTube Shorts has an opportunity to make a run at TikTok for the short form content? Like, what's your stance on YouTube Shorts? Because it's a little bit different, and YouTubers go to YouTube for different content. I almost want to say they should make that into a separate app. So
my thing on Shorts is what I see it as now. It's not a great way to make money. I had a short do 100,000 views and I made $9. 100,000 views on a regular video can make 1,000, like whatever. It's like I said, the monetization isn't there. But what Shorts does offer now is that new audience. So the subscriber growth is very tough on YouTube now. No matter what size you are, growing subscribers is hard, because I feel like YouTube doesn't even push subscriptions. Like they don't want you to use a subscription bar. They want you to use a recommended feed, and they'll push you the people you want to see so you don't have to subscribe. If you watch my videos, they'll pop up on your feed. But Shorts actually pushes you to new people and helps with those subscriptions and getting you in front of new people. Whereas if you're spinning your feet, like there's been points where I gained like 100,000 subscribers in a month. My average now is probably like 20 to 30,000 subscribers a month. And so like some months it goes to 50, 60, some months it goes back down. On Shorts, there's people that I know that gained 10 million subscribers in 5 months. Wow. Just off of Shorts. Now, when they post a regular form video, gets 100,000 views, these Shorts are getting 250 million views. So it's like opening you up to an audience, helping your channel grow. They're not the same type of people, but like they're not as engaged of a subscriber, but they're there and they help the channel grow and do help you get in front of new eyes. So like I am starting to utilize them, but I always am wary when YouTube releases a new feature to put all my eggs into that basket, because there's been things where the live streaming got big. People do that. It messes up with your analytics on the channel and your retention for your videos, so then it gets pushed less. So it's like there's these little things that I try to stick to what I know works and stick to that, and then dabble in a little of their stuff, but I don't put all my eggs in that basket.
Like the community tab, which pretty much never gets used.
Nobody uses
that. That was just a wasted feature. Yep. No one uses that.
The only people I see use it is like when you have memberships and people pay for that, you can post. That's where you post like your member exclusive content.
So there is a divide right now between creating a separate channel for your shorts and your clips versus your long content. What do you think of? Is it necessary to have a separate shorts channel?
Not anymore. YouTube fixed it. I don't know if you've seen now. There is a separate tab for shorts, and so your main feed of regular videos does not get interrupted by that.
Which was pretty annoying for that 3 or 6 month or whatever that was.
And so that's why I do it now, because it doesn't mess with it. And so I don't think it's necessary, because I think that they aid the growth in your regular content and getting new eyes on it. It may not be a lot. It may not be like very strong, but like it aids in that. And so I do it, but I don't get nearly as many views on them.
So I do, obviously, we're starting really long form content, hour, 2 hours. Do you think I should, personally, you think I should do like 1 hour and then have a separate channel for like the clips, like 7, 8, 6 minute clips, or all in one channel? Because I'm a small channel, obviously.
I think a clips channel is better for when it comes to like 6 to 7 minute long videos, not short specifically, but like more easily consumable content. I think that it makes sense to do that, because like you got to break that up if you want people, if you're talking about specific topics that people want information on. Because if you just make it like, let's say you post this and it's like on Harrison Nevel, the people are going to click on it probably going to be people we know, and then people who know me. Whereas if you get into the details about monetization, all that, there's a market for that, and then people are like, oh, now I'll go watch the whole thing. So I think it makes sense to do that.
To do a separate channel.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate in life to have met a lot of popular and famous YouTubers, celebrities, etc. But especially amongst YouTubers, I've noticed that most are introverted. The ones that are more extroverted don't get big. All the hugest, biggest ones are kind of awkward and don't like being around huge groups of people. And I think almost that you have to be that way, because you have to enjoy that solo grind, that time alone, talking to a camera by yourself, the hours that goes into editing, post, that people don't see. Why do you think that is?
I think you kind of nailed it. I never really thought of myself as an introvert until like people talked about it. Like, because once I noticed that, like, I don't like large groups of people. I like being at home. And I think it's just being able to sit there and, like, if you think about it, you're talking to a camera. Like, from an outsider's perspective, that's like, especially 5 years ago, like, what are you doing? Like, that's weird. You're talking to a camera. And so, like, to be able to do that, whereas, like, I feel like people who are extroverted are wanting to go talk to people. They want to go out and talk to crowds and that kind of thing. So I think you're pretty spot on.
So there's a lot of fakes, replica sneakers out there, and I had to know, are they as comfortable as the real shoes?
No. I mean, there's good fakes that it probably are.
Because I'm not a sneakerhead, but if I wanted, off-white Air Max something for $5,000, I don't want to spend it.
Yep.
Can I buy a pair of fakes and wet rock them? Or would that be like so bad?
I mean, I don't care if people buy fakes. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
What I don't like, and people who watch my channel have heard this a million times, but as long as you're not selling fake shoes as real and scamming people, if you're wearing fakes, it doesn't bother me. Like, it's all based on what the person wants. And like, most of the time, there's some that are really good, but most of the time they're going to be pretty bad quality to where they'll probably fall apart. But a lot of people claim that they're made in the same factory as the ones at Nike, which I just ultimately don't think is true. Like, Nike has their own thing. Maybe some pairs get slid out the back, but like, there's a whole nother separate factory that takes a shoe, disassembles it, figures out how it works, puts it together. And there's some that are better than others. And but a lot of the ones that you see that you're able to get access to, like the average person, are bad quality that'll just probably fall apart. And some Nike shoes are bad quality too. They don't take a lot to make, but
yeah, it's hit or miss.
But Nike has the manufacturing at a larger scale to make higher quality things.
I always felt like their size seems always more consistent. I think that's why, of any shoe, that's why I liked Nike's better. Because if I buy my size, it's going to fit like my size. Whereas sometimes you go to Adidas or something else, and it's hit or miss. And I feel like Nike has been more consistent. Is that true?
100%. Like Yeezys, back when Yeezys come out new models, you can be an 11.5 in one and like a 10.5 in another.
Yeah.
And you're like, what am I, like, I had one first Yeezy 350 was a size 9.5 that I wore. And I'm an 11.5 in the V2s. It's like, what? That's so different. So I think that's true, because for me, Nike SBs, I'm an 11.5. Jordan 1s, I'm an 11. I know exactly every time if I get an 11 in a Jordan 1, it's going to fit.
So talk about Yeezys. Kanye obviously kicked out of Adidas. But Adidas seems like they're going to try to resell the Yeezys with taking the Yeezy name off of it.
Yep.
Are people going to buy them? How do you think that's going to end up?
I think sneakerheads know. I think it'll kind of just become another shoe that's on the shelf at the mall that people like the look of. The problem is already the retail was pretty high on them and there was not a big margin for resellers. So nearing the end, they weren't as popular. They were still selling, but like when they were at their peak is because they're going for $1,000. But their retail is like $230 for a Yeezy 350 V2. That's a lot of money to spend on a shoe. And if you're not a sneakerhead, especially, it's a lot of money to spend on a shoe, unless you like the comfortability. Maybe it's worth it to you. I don't know. It's interesting. But I know that they probably have millions of pairs of them sitting around that they got to do something
Just sitting
with.
in warehouses.
Yeah.
And what do you do with
what?
those?
Yeah. What else are they going to do? Like donate? Like they can sell them. I think if they drop the price to $100, $120, probably costs them a good bit to make them, but drop it to $100 to $120, make it everyone's everyday shoe. The Panda Dunk is $100. Easy for everybody to get. They sell out, but like easier to get than spending $250 on a shoe. So make them accessible. I think they might succeed.
You think Kanye makes a comeback?
I don't know how he comes back from this, man.
It's tough, right?
Wild shit. Like
he went down deep into the rabbit hole.
He's gone through his phases,
and he does it all the time. It feels like.
Yeah, but this time,
that's also what keeps him so popular and trending.
Like we said, but this seems too far. I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. And he's like disappeared. Like he's not. You don't hear about him much.
But then he, out of nowhere, he'll come out with a new pair of shoes, put a new name on it, and maybe they'll blow up. What do you think?
Maybe in a year people will have forgotten. There's always those people that go back and support him no matter what.
And the internet memory is relatively short.
Yep. People probably forgot about it now because he disappeared. But like him going on Alex Jones' show, and that was
that wild.
Bad. That was so wild. Bad.
So obviously I have this podcast that I'm starting out. What would as a experienced and successful creator online, what would your recommendation be for me so that I can grow?
Podcasts, I say, are pretty tough, but the important thing is that you have something to bring to the table that people find interesting. And from what I've seen, the people that I know that you are curating, because the difference that you have is that you know people around here. You know, you're tapped in different markets, and you know people that have interesting stories. That's what matters. Because if you're just a normal person who works a normal job, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you go on and try to have a podcast and talk about your everyday life that is the same as everybody else's, then it's like not many people want to hear that. But when they're able to hear stories of, you know, Danny with E, like those kind of people, they hear these experiences that they've had rather than being like talking to people who like don't have a lot of differentiating aspects to them. I think that's what will succeed. But I will say it's tough to grow, and it's going to be a grind. It definitely is. But I think that the people that you're getting on is what's going to help, differentiate it from others, because you have to have an interesting story.
I mean, it's a grind. I'm going into this understanding that it's going to be a really slow grind, that it's going to take a while, that I'm asking a lot of people to commit to spend an hour with me, sometimes 2 hours with me. Who knows? I mean, we're at hour and a half now. Yeah. And that's a big ask for people. I mean, we talked early on about asking for 5 minutes and how difficult that is to get someone's 5 minutes of time. And I'm asking for an hour. Yeah. So I respect people who chime in and give me that hour. I mean, it means the world to me, but it's not easy. And I understand that. But I would still like it to grow. I really want to do kind of good content, positive content, very contrary to what I used to do. And I've seen my subscriber count drop because, and I get it. Yeah. It's not what you signed up for. Yep. And I'm giving you something completely different. So you're going to leave. I get it. No hard feelings. I understand that. And I expected that. But, and I'm putting them out at 5 a.m. and people, 5 a.m., like I got people watching like 5 a.m. People are like listening to this. I'm like, that's pretty amazing. It's cool. Too. Yeah. And that means a lot to me.
But I think a very important aspect of that you will need to do is like make sure you also, it's about the guest, but make sure that you also let people know about you and let people, because they're coming back to hear you have these conversations with people. And so like, yes, like if you look at the Joe Rogan, like the way he does it, it's like people care about Joe Rogan's opinion as well as what the other people are saying. And so like they also care about you. And so like you giving them a little bit more each time about yourself, why you're doing this, that's also important so that they like are coming back. They know every time when they come back, at least I'll like what you have to say. And at least I know what you are here and what you are about. I may not know what the guest is, but I know that I can rely on you being entertaining. So I'm going to come back and I know you. So,
and that's difficulty for me because if I invite someone to come in and talk and they give their ideas or their opinion on a matter, I almost don't want to like bombard them and have them feel like I set them up.
Yeah.
You know, like
makes sense.
You know, you believe a way and I'm just sitting here like, no, that's bullshit. You know, I almost don't want to do that. But at the same time, I feel like we're going to get to a place where people are requesting to come on.
Yeah.
And when they're like, I want to come on and this is what I want to talk about. And if you ask me to come on, I want to challenge you and challenge your ideas and make sure you believe what you believe. Because I don't want people coming here just shilling their crypto, you know, and be like, hey, you know,
imagine I brought up an NFT.
Exactly. If Harrison was like, hey, there's a new NFT project I'm working on and this is the future. I'm like, bullshit.
But see, like that, I think is what is important about this type of content is to be able to ask the questions and talk about the things that people don't talk about. And like, it gets to a certain point where people are at a certain level and they only have on people that agree with their opinions. And I get that, but also it's important to have that kind of, I think there's things are more interesting when there's differentiating. Like when we had our Flexcast, it was like Haas, his opinions on some things weren't the same as mine. Yeah. And we would talk about that and people are interested because not everybody's the same. So I think that's important. But like you said, if people want to come on and all that thing, I definitely agree. But there is a hard line if like it's your friends and there's something that's like going on to like be like, hey, this thing that you're stressed about, what's up with that? Like,
because I believe that people should be able to believe whatever the hell they want, right? Your opinion is your opinion. What you think is real is what you think is real. I don't really care. What I believe is what I believe, and I have a lot of conviction in what I believe. But I don't want to tell anyone how to live their life. I don't want to tell anyone how to think. You know, you decide how you choose your life. I think that's the greatest thing about this day and age that we're in is that you have the freedom of choice and you can be literally whoever you want to be and no one's going to judge you for it. I mean, maybe the internet may chirp, but the reality is nobody cares. And if you have conviction in who you are and why you are who you are, no one's challenged that, you know? I don't know. Final thoughts.
I think it's good. Good to be on here.
What do you think about the way I handle because it's a little bit different. I have a little bit of questions prepared and I ask you because I consider you the internet guru. You know, if I have a question, I don't know who else to ask. I ask you, I ask Steve, you know, what do you think about this type of format? And again, now I'm just being selfish here. Personal learning.
Yeah, no, I think the format's good, but I think a good way would be like opening it up with kind of like natural conversation and then lead it into like you sit down and like I start talking about your watch or something like that. And then you just be like, all right, so now we're gonna talk about this. So like in that beginning gives you an opportunity to give more to the audience about you. So like they can know more about you. I think that will help. And like maybe this is just I could be wrong. This is my thoughts, but like giving like a background on me at the beginning, saying like, so people know, because some people may not know who I am. So, and they learn that through the episode, but giving them a little bit of at the beginning, like, this is Harrison, sneaker YouTuber, blah, 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 may help some people who are like, who's that guy?
So I've been trying to do that in the beginning of the episode. So I'll record that.
Oh, so you do it separate. Okay.
And that's what I thought. I'll add that in.
Yeah. That makes sense then.
And the first couple I recorded, I started with kind of, you know, getting people comfortable, small chat. But I came to a realization as I was watching it, like we talk a lot about things that people don't have reference to then.
Yeah.
Because if we're just like, we're chatting and we're like, hey, and we're talking about Haas and Steve and guys that we both know, the people watching don't know who we're talking about.
Yep.
And I'm worried that they may be like, all right, they're talking about things I don't care about. And they may click out. Yeah. So that's a weird balance because I wanted to start more casual. But then as I start editing these videos and looking through them, like maybe I need to start more like with something that they came to see.
And I think now that I think about your format where it's like you're giving that the preface before. Premise. Haas got me on that the other day on a video. But like you're giving the information before and then it's cutting to it. That makes more sense. Whereas like if it just opens up as that, it would just, I could see people being confused, but you're giving them that information before.
Yeah, I want to give a little bit of context. And that's why, as soon as people walk in, we start recording. And then I'll just find a natural point where this can start. But I don't want to start people on what the hell are they talking about?
Yep.
And that's not easy because I get it. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, I understand exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And then I have to take myself out of the situation and be like, oh yeah, they have no clue
That
what
makes
we're
sense.
talking about.
Yeah.
Because Danny was here the other day, and when I was talking to Danny, we're talking about, and he mentioned, Harrison's coming tomorrow, and this, and as he says, I'm like, no one's gonna have any idea what he's talking about, And then now I gotta cut out 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sense.
I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yep, no problem. Let me know if you ever want me to come back, get you some more YouTube, and maybe I'll come back and you'll be at 100K subs and
That'd be awesome.
figure it out.
I've been thinking, if this ever gets to 100,000 subs, I want to get all the people I interview and do a party with all the interviewers. And I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To get everyone together.
I mean, imagine if you have 500 episodes.
That'd be a huge party.
But I think the thing that if people like certain people, definitely have them back on. Like Joe Rogan has like people on like 50 times. Like if they really like Haas's insight on something, have Haas back on. If you want to hear more about Danny and his backstory, have him on again. Like I think that'd be good.
So the funny thing about the episode with Haas, because that was the first one, and in some point in the episode, he says, "Adapt or die," right?
Yeah,
and that's very Haas thing to say.
Yeah.
And the retention curve goes like this at that very moment. I was like, that's so hardcore. And people just didn't like to hear that.
That's interesting.
That was
That's so
interesting.
funny.
Yeah, because you can see where people drop. And I was like, why is there this one drop right here?
Because Haas is so strong as opinions.
And Haas says, adapt or die. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Haas.
People don't like the strong opinions where they can only think, because he's like, this is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.